Art has always been with us. It helped us learn our history, continue our culture, and become another way of communicating. With art by man's side, people were able to share their emotions and creative ideas and even earn incentives. Although art has evolved into different things, up to this day, old and new artists have still been able to express one's creativity. In today's video, let's hear the story of Gwen Ashbel Cansancio, a 23-year-old artisan in Cagayan de Oro, who used her gift of art to be able to help provide for her family and serve the Lord.
Hello everyone, I'm Gwen Ashbel Cansancio. I work as an art director for Vim Creek Marketing Agency. The brand that I am in specializes in digital and traditional marketing with over 44 brands of experience. What I do as an art director is to curate and conceptualize the different types of looks and directions of the brands, by which it will be translated to our team of creatives, and then they will be able to use that to make their art for the specific clients. Apart from my day job, I also work as a volunteer in Elevate CDO. It is a youth group, a nonprofit organization, and I specialize in the social media, multimedia, and creatives ministry. I did not start in the digital field, obviously, because I started with a typical paper and pen. So I used to be a very traditional artist. I used to draw a lot as a kid, and this eventually did result to me developing an eye for what looks good and what does not. The very first thing that inspired me was when my dad bought me my very first 12 set of poster paints along with scratch papers from his work as a nurse. And so I would paint on those scratch papers, little Powerpuff Girls. I'll try to see if I still have those. Anyways, from then on, I kept drawing and drawing all the way until high school. I met a few people who are also artists, and they really inspired me along the way. And eventually, as I developed newer heights, I became an IT. At the age of 18, I studied information technology, and so mixing both the things that I like to do and the things that I'm good at, along with my education, I started venturing off to digital art. So I started with drawing with my very first pen tablet at the age of 16. That was my second year of college. And then eventually it landed me my very first job. It got me to develop my skills with better clients, and it led me to where I am now. I'm gonna be honest with you, it is the monetary value that I am compensated with. So, I think one of the differences between digital art and traditional art mainly is the saleable factor that it has. So I would say that over the last 4 years, especially since the pandemic, artists online and creatives online have been getting their fair share of money from the different jobs that they were able to handle. And I would say that this is the art that sells at the moment. But aside from that, I will also be candid and say that it is also my joy and love for art. I would not be here, I would not last long in this industry had it not been for my love for what looks good, for what's aesthetic, for what inspires me, to create more, to inspire people more, and just the whole concept of community building that is always in the art world. You can never have art without a community backing it up. And I would just like to continue on with that thought, because although art may be enjoyed as an individual and may only be understood by the artist itself, even the community itself is an art form of reaching out to people, impacting people, seeing people react to what you do. I think you see this a lot as well in the media, mainstream media, in which controversial works of art are being displayed, and they hurt people, they edify people, they encourage people. that's one of the things that inspires me, the capacity for an artist to really touch the lives of people who they haven't even met before. So, yes, that one. For my line of work, I did start with the traditional stuff, so the paper, pen, pencils. Eventually, I started learning the art of digital art, so I got my very first Genius tablet. It wasn't even like a high-end one. It was around 1,000 or so pesos at that time. And I bought it with my very own allowance. Because like my dad wouldn't buy it for me because he didn't know what it was. So naturally I had to save up for it. I had to pray for it a lot actually. And then my parents eventually started figuring out what I do. And when I first landed my job at 16 years old, with the artwork that I do, it was when it was starting to make sense for my parents as well. So after multiple clients, I invested on a Wacom tablet. So it's a lot pricier than the very first one that I bought. And that was the beginning of my actual real work. So from there on, I also landed a job when I finished my internship in a certain web development company, and they introduced me to a client who was interested in creating storybooks. So that was my very first gig with my new tablet. And then for the recent work that I do now, as an art director, I don't really draw much, but I do a lot of research on what is trending, what looks good in the public media right now, what is fresh, what is something controversial, but at the same time impactful to the point that it sells products. So it's not only a saleable art, but it's also an art that sells art. If you get what I mean. So currently the materials that I use, aside from the tablets, are now my laptop and my mouse and apps like Photoshop, Canva, Illustrator, InDesign, those stuff. So it's really evolved from the art that I used to do to the art that I have now. I don't really have a ritual, but I do a lot of research because art itself, you can't really make anything original anymore with the amount that we have, with the amount that we consume in the internet and the people that we meet. I think art is just an emulation of what you love, what you like, and what you think looks good. So the steps, I don't really have steps, but I guess I look at Pinterest a lot, I look at Instagram, I look at various websites, things that make me laugh, things that make me smile, those kinds of things. So if I have a new show that I like to watch, that can be an inspiration. If I have a new book, so that's one of the rituals that I have, I guess, if you consider that one. I also like to doodle a lot. So on my downtime, I like to sketch, even if it does not look good in particular. So I have a notebook just for that. I call it a junk journal. And from there, even if it doesn't look good, during the lectures that I have, I'm currently a law student, so there are times where I find it hard to focus if I'm not doing anything. So what I do is I would doodle my professor on my notebooks. So they have a lot of faces there. And I guess one last thing that I would do is to pray, because he who lacks wisdom should seek the Lord, and He will give that wisdom. Art is also an emulation of wisdom. I believe that, because I don't think we can make something completely out of nothing. And in the same way, the God of all heavens, who started everything, is the same God who would be able to give us wisdom. So, as a Christian as well, I believe that the Bible is true when it says in James 1:5, if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. Art really is just an emulation of those things that we like to see, but we will never be able to translate those art if we do not have wisdom. And so whenever I am stuck I, especially because my job entails that I would always have an output. So what I would do is really ask the God of heavens, the God of the heavens and the earth, to give me that wisdom that I need. And for sure, He has provided. Over the last few years in this industry, I have worked in this industry ever since I was 16. I am 23 now. You guys do the math on how many years I've been here. But all in all, even the favor from the clients, I know that's from God. So yeah, I think that's basically me, my art, my experiences. I hope that you find this entertaining and enjoyable and insightful. And I really enjoy this. Thank you so much for having me. Bye, guys.